What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is LaBelle. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today, as the title suggests, we are discussing pro clubs. And many of you watching may not know I play pro clubs every year. We grind to Division 1. I've taken part in multiple competitive leagues. It happens mostly on the live stream if you've ever wanted to get involved. Sometimes we talk about it more on Discord, so I'm happy that we have some announcements, we have some discussion points, and if you want to see pro clubs content on the YouTube right here, like this video. Maybe we can use that as an indicator that you want to watch it. That's always been the difficulty of pro clubs via YouTube. In fact, it was some of my earliest content when I first started a channel. I was mixing and matching some career mode and some pro clubs as a hybrid, as a collective. Also, what would you change with pro clubs? Because this is the debate that we constantly have every single year, mainly because EA hasn't made many changes. FIFA 22, it's looking a little bit better. We've always discussed esports, which I'm open to. I just think it needs to be reworked. I don't see 11v11 at in-person LAN events in the near future. Please don't come after me for that statement. I'm just speaking from a logistics and a practical application. I see the struggle and the difficulty in the near future of 11v11. Maybe some sort of national team, but we should just start with online. You crawl before you walk. You walk before you run. Maybe you run before you jump. I'm just going with it. I've got 5 subjects that I definitely want to open up the board for. Let's begin. Drop-ins with friends or associates. Not only complete randoms. This is valuable. Every pro clubs player knows it is not an easy task to gather 10 teammates in a lobby at the same time. And if you've experienced drop-in matches, it is absolute filth, disorganization. Everyone has self-interest in mind. We've got a bunch of cats going into these matches, trying to level up, improve their pro. There is no professionalism. There's no one you know, and matchmaking is complicated if you're trying to align getting into matches with some of your buddies in previous years. Now you can get involved with a squad up to 4 friends or recent teammates, and you don't have to leave clubs, which is huge. Because I've always hated that as an extra step where I have to leave this club to join that club if I want to do something very baseline, very simple. And from a content production standpoint, I just see trolling with clubs coming very soon, which I believe could end up creating some of the best FIFA internet that we have seen in quite some time. Pro clubs is the most enjoyable game mode to play, but it's not always the most enjoyable game mode to spectate. That's a big issue as to why we haven't seen more of it from a mainstream production and just mainstream consumption level. Is that fair to say? I've been here. I've been doing it. With this change, there's now a way to earn XP for your pro while playing with your club teammates, but without impacting your club record. I can co-sign. If you're missing some of your key members to the club, you don't want to mess it up. You know who's important, who's not replaceable. And you can also play with friends from other clubs without having to leave your club, as previously mentioned. When playing the new drop-in, you select your playstyle prior to searching for a match. Your playstyle will determine your preferred position. Example, selecting a striker playstyle will drop you in a match with your play as an attacker. Striker, left wing, right wing. You get the idea. Let's move forward. Perks. This is an NBA 2K ripoff of badges, at least to some degree, but I'm not upset with that adjustment or that shift. In fact, 2K's entire franchise is based around perks and building out your pros, and I've always wanted EA to kind of incorporate some of that into the equation. Perks are a new way to improve your virtual pro, allowing you to refine your play style further. Every virtual pro starts with 1 perk slot unlocked, which can be filled with one of the 3 starter perks, and then from there you earn 1 new perk per level, and you unlock additional perk slots at level 9 and 19. You're gonna have some perks to work with. You're able to choose from 26 different perks to equip in your 3 perk slots. Let's take a deeper dive, or at least a quick glance over some of these perks. And by no means am I saying this is gonna be perfect. I like the idea of additional customization, especially if this is your main game mode. Think about it. How many of you that grind pro clubs from the start of the year to the end of the year? It is not a side hobby. You need to be able to have additional options and depth to the game mode. That's always been a major complaint. In the pro clubs community, it's been a pretty simple, unadjusted, unedited game mode, almost ignored. If you really think about it, a lot of the progression in the pro clubs world has been done via third-party websites, not internally with the actual title or the actual game mode. Back to perks. Attacking perks. An example, distance shooter increases your accuracy and power from long distance shots, grants you the finesse shot trait, and the 5-star weak foot ability, which surely would save you time in unlocking that ability if you use this as maybe one of your starter perks. I'm just thinking as we're looking or as we're glancing, I've noticed this as a theme between some of the perks that have been announced, and it's tough to say if this is going to be a definite good inclusion, or it's going to be a drawback, or it's going to be a simulation or arcadey. But to a certain degree, when I play pro clubs, I'm not playing for everything to be realistic. We got deep balls and crazy outlets. We call them the moon show. It's going to the sky. You got takedowns, volleys, highlights. If you're getting into the competitive scene, a little bit different, because 11v11 can be somewhat glitchy, but typically not that high scoring, with the goalkeepers and the quality of movement and trying to unlock space and the track back, especially the manual defending with everyone coming back from the midfield and crowding the box. I don't need to get into it, but this is a theme. You get an increase amongst your attributes for 15 minutes. Now, to what degree is that going to change how your team interacts or engages, or your individualism and your expression? Is it too overpowered? Is it not overpowered enough? I'd probably lean towards it being too overpowered for this 15-minute period. Is it going to be part of the next episode of Ridiculousness? Or is Rob Deerdeck making an appearance? I don't know, but it's not going to be the same. That's the point of the video. FIFA 22 Pro Clubs is not going to be the same. Overall, I'm interested, I'm intrigued. I don't want to jump out the window. I don't want to make some blanket statement or generalization that you can try to grab and rotate and quotate, put on a shirt, when I don't know that I have that level of confidence, but I'm interested. I want to know more. I'm looking forward to implementing these perks. We also have archetypes. Textbook, straight out of NBA 2K, once again. But EA didn't give us much information here. This is very vague. Also new to FIFA 22 are archetypes, significant attribute increases that help you create, customize, and secure your virtual pro's identity on the pitch. Your forms of expression. Archetypes are acquired through skill points made available at the end of a skill tree branch. You can equip up to 3 archetypes depending on how you decide to allocate your skill points. I'm not upset with a lot of these 2K parallels. I will repeat a broken record. I don't mind if we have to deja vu, but that franchise is built on the customization of the perks and the archetypes and the build outs of individualism, expression with the players. That's really where 2K has won out in terms of that side of creating an experience. Pro clubs lag, and I'm sure many of you will relate to this. I've always felt that pro clubs was late to have adoptions or to make the proper shifts, changes, a bit outdated. We now have additional team customization, and because it's taken so long, some of you will not even be happy about the additional customization. More choices than before. We'll push play. You already see the TIFO action. And I understand from a community perspective if you're saying this should have always been there, especially since you've already implemented, I think, all of the above to Ultimate Team. Clearly the favorite brother, sister, cousin of the family. Kit, crest, ball, home stadium, club nickname, TIFO. You get the idea. You can read. I don't need to cover this heavily. You have more options. You're going to build that ambiance. And last but not least, we now have co-ed pro clubs, which I personally think is dope, because this is an inventive game mode. And I think about myself playing football every single week. I always try to have a co-ed league. I really enjoy that inclusion. I like the community building. There are more and more women playing FIFA. This makes sense. We should have this incorporated into an all-in-one, all-inclusive game mode. If you haven't seen this announcement, Just a moment. One pitch for everyone. We've added more diversity to the Virtual Pro Creator, enabling you to better express yourself by creating either a male or female Virtual Pro. No matter what kind of Virtual Pro you choose to create, the on-pitch action brings all Virtual Pros together, and the cosmetic customization of them has no additional gameplay impact. Fantastic. Here's an example on screen. It should be interesting from a meta perspective to see if it does shift anything, because even though it's stated that there's no competitive advantage, we know how pro clubs works. Height, size, weight does play a factor. As to movement, shape also matters. We talk about it constantly in Ultimate Team with body types. If you get somebody who has all the stats but they're kind of on the thicker end, not beneficial towards the attack. Thanks again for watching. Let me know, are you excited for pro clubs? I feel these are a bunch of big announcements. If we're just gonna recap, the drop-in portion where you could have 2 or 3 of you, or you could get together with guys that you played in the previous matchup. It's easy to incorporate. I like it. The perks, the archetypes, I'm into it. Run that up. The co-ed pro clubs, or having women virtual pros, male virtual pros, it should be like that. This is create a you, or create what you want to be, or create what you want to replicate. It's a video game, but I have a lot more content coming out ASAP. If you want more of this, more pro club focus, like the video that tells me kind of from a polling perspective, I can make this content not only early on, but as a repeat, as something that's a little more consistent on my outlets, on my channel. See you tomorrow.